you come join us up front?
Absolutely not. We want to see your beautiful faces. Where's the president?
Hi everyone. Hi, thank you so much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited for this event. I want to welcome you all to The Riveter. Probably wondering, what is this space? So it is a startup company founded by Amy Nelson, our CEO and founder, and it is a female co-working space, but it's also event space. So it's very versatile. While it is a co-working space in the daytime, it becomes an event space at night, and we have incredible programming that is public, as well as member exclusive. And yeah, we're super excited to be here in LA. This started in Seattle about a year and a couple months ago. So it is very new and it is growing and there's tons of opportunities and we're so excited that you're able to experience it. And here's Joaquin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madeline. We actually connected with the Riveter at the USOW event, so United States of Women, that happened in May, I believe, and so that was a really incredible conference which brought in so many different organizations that are aligned with the mission of supporting, elevating, and promoting the work of incredible females who are everywhere. And so it's really nice to be able to, have aligned missions and really work with spaces that do support our important mission. And so thank you, Madeline, for that and for the event space. And thank you, everyone, for your flexibility in joining us this evening. I know there was, a little bit of a change in time and date, so we do appreciate you being here tonight. And tonight is really special because we do have our CEO and founder here moderating our panel, so thank you, Sepideh Nasiri, for flying from San Francisco. How many folks is it their first time joining us tonight? Oh, wow. Welcome. I hope that you had an opportunity to really connect with our community here this evening, and you'll help sustain the great energy and what we call the pay it forward effect, which is really what the foundation of Persian Women in Tech is. So it's just, in all simplicity, a space where we have so many different verticals of technologists, entrepreneurs, investors come with the purpose of helping someone else out. And of course, that's, that all comes around full circle, and everyone together we move forward as a stronger, more diverse, and more empowered community. Tonight's panel is really special for us. We conducted somewhat of a focus group in March, and we realized that a lot of our community members are interested in, diverging and starting something of their own, or they're really interested in climbing the corporate ladder and expanding their kind of responsibilities and roles in their companies. And they're very talented, and they just need some extra advice and expertise in order to be able to do that. So with that, I want to give the mic to Sepideh Nasiri, and we'll kick off this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodin. Well, welcome. As Rodin mentioned, Persian Women in Tech was created to build a community so we can support each other. Because if we are not supporting each other, how can we expect anyone else to do that for us, right? So it starts with us. Thank you for joining that movement. Tonight we want to talk about resources for her and how you can empower yourself to have a better tech future, which can be personal growth or it could be a professional growth as well. And each of us hopefully are looking into expanding and growing every day, whether it's through tools and resources or individuals who can mentor us. So first, thank you so much to all our panelists. Unfortunately, Sonia is not able to make it. She's actually sick today. We got the message. We hope she feels better and hopefully she can join us in a future event. With that in mind, I would love to give an opportunity to our panelists to introduce themselves. I feel that way they have a human connection to our attendees. Who wants to start? Nazanin?
Of course, sure. Is it on?
Yeah.
So hi, my name is Nazanin Entesari. You told me to talk about a bit about my background. I was born and raised in Iran. I also went to school in Iran, did a bachelor's in chemical engineering. After that, I left Iran, moved to Germany, did a master's and PhD, this time in mechanical engineering. And after my PhD, I came here to California, Los Angeles, 2.5 years ago. And right now, I'm a researcher at Loker, Hydrocarbon Institute. And if I want to talk about my background, the main focus of my research is to develop the green technologies. What I do is that, we all try very hard to believe nowadays that global warming is a hoax, and although we know that it snows in New York City right now, but we try to cool down a bit this warm planet of ours by capturing all these harmful gases that we emit to the environment. One of them is carbon dioxide, and the technologies that we are working with are focused mainly on capturing these gases, converted to more sustainable, more renewable and more sustainable resources for the energy sector. And I hope that someday in the near future, I see that these renewable resources overtake a major part in the energy sector, hopefully.
Wonderful, thank you. Doreen?
Am I supposed to follow that? Hi. Hello, my name is Doreen Hakimi. I was born and raised right here in Los Angeles. I am a software engineer at Originate. We are an innovation studio that partners with other companies to build custom software. I studied computer science and business for undergrad at University of Southern California. I took an internship at Disney after I graduated from college. I did web development there for ABC. After that, I got a job at Originate, and I've been there for 3 years. And my focus is on web user interface engineering. That's me.
Wonderful, thank you. And Mahkadeh.
Good evening, everyone. Is this on? It's not on? So, sorry about that. My name is Mahkadeh Varza. Been born and brought up in Iran. Also attended school in Iran, Tehran. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, telecommunications, and master's in biomedical engineering. Moved here to the United States about 9 years ago. Married to a filmmaker and photographer. For the most part of my career, I've been focused on embedded systems. And in my most recent position, I work as the Director of Electrical Engineering at Sofie Biosciences, where we design and build PET CT scanners, as well as radio synthesizers. Well, I'm also a breast cancer survivor.
Awesome. Well, I think everyone here is always looking to, as we talked about earlier, to grow and develop themselves. And one of the key elements when we want to grow is we change jobs to get a better job, get a better opportunity, and also create an environment where we can grow faster. Mahkadeh, in your opinion, and you have had such an amazing journey in your career, doing a lot of different things and working in a lot of different companies, great companies, including NASA and so forth, I believe. And so what would you, and I think you also invented back in Iran, if I'm correct with your background. And so having had so many different journeys, what do you think someone should look for when they're looking at a company to grow? What type of characteristic of a company should they look out for to be able to develop their career as well?
Sure. So, actually, I don't see myself in a position to be giving advice, from a public platform. So I would like to share a couple of quotes from a couple of very successful women, and then after I forgot to write down the names. One of these women says that it is your life. Choose carefully where you spend it. Another one says, choose companies that share your values and priorities and accept your lifestyle. Be resilient and confident. So, if I wanted to look for a new position to advance my career and to for my personal growth as well as professional, I would start by narrowing down the type of industries that I like to work in. My personal preferences would be medical, aerospace, energy, especially energy harvesting and recycling. And then I would look into the different companies that work in those sectors. And I would look into the opportunities they offer for me and the opportunity especially for growth in that position that I'm looking into. I have actually done this. I have actually, in many interviews that I've been to, job interviews, I have asked the interviewer, what type of growth can I look into if I join your company? As well as that, I would actually look into how successful the company has been, how stable they have been. I would also look into the diversity, both gender and race. And sorry, I have made notes. The culture of an environment is actually defined as a set of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterizes an institution or organization. This is among the many definitions for a culture. So as soon as you step into an environment, you get a feel of what's going on there and what's the prevailing culture over there. For example, I just started a position, and a couple of days into that position, a couple of employees there approached me and told me, you know what, you have to set your boundaries really strict here, otherwise they will take advantage of you. Like, okay, that talked a lot about the culture and what's going on in this company. Or I worked for another company that every employee that I met, they have been with the company for over 10 years. So I thought, okay, this is a very caring company. So, or like in my caring position with Sofie, when I was diagnosed with cancer, they gave me every support and care, and they made me feel like I am just one of them, and forever I feel I owe it to them to make them happy, to work for their benefit, work for all of us benefit, and
That's perfect. I mean, looking at a workplace, we're spending most of our time there, so making sure that we're treated well and that we're getting what we need is absolutely right. I agree. Anyone else want to add to that, Doreen?
I can add to that, yes. I personally was telling Sepideh this yesterday. I personally am drawn to companies that are smaller because I want more ownership of the work that I'm doing. And because I work in software, there's a lot of brand name companies, the Facebooks, the Googles, they advertise all these nice things, but for me, it was all about, can I see myself taking someone else's job that I'm working next to? Can I have a good work-life balance? Do I feel supported in pursuing my own interests, my own passions? I like being around people who are hardworking, entrepreneurial, who are building their own software. I want to be one of those people one day. So I think it's very good to be vigilant about that. And anytime you go into a new environment and you're interviewing, a lot of it is you interviewing them. I know they're also trying to get to know you, but I feel like a lot of people go into it and they don't ask the right questions. They don't look around. They don't see, oh my God, that guy has been working for 50 hours a week, something. He must be really exhausted. Is that something that I want? It's just good to be really realistic and keep your eyes open when you're exploring a new avenue.
to just complement what I have said, I would also say, because I'm in academia, so I'm dealing with all this new graduates first coming out of school and they try to search a job, I always say them set also realistic goals and expectation from yourself when you're searching for a job. So as an example, when you're dealing with something personal, hardship that you have to handle, it could be also positive events that are going on and it takes your mind off work. Don't shoot for some job that comes with a high load of stress. Try to pace down yourself a bit, and then, because if you go to a job and you cannot handle it, and afterwards you are gonna, in long term, when you look at your perspective, you're gonna ruin your career even more as compared to just pacing down a bit for a short period of time and then jumping and aim high and succeed and accomplish what you deserve, actually.
Absolutely. And Nazanin, John, you know, being in academia, you get to talk to a lot of these students who are going to enter the workplace soon. And so, in your opinion, what are the skill sets to prepare them? What would you say they should learn so that when they come into the workplace, they have a better chance to be part of that, you know, pool that gets hired?
So let me answer your question in two parts. I will start with some technical parts, and then I will proceed to some soft skills that I think they are also as important as the technical parts when you want to start your career. I myself, let's set this example. I am a chemical engineer. I have a degree in mechanical engineering. Now I'm working on a lot of chemistry topics. And from outside, at the time being, when you look at the way that I work, you may not find any direct relation or correlation between my current work and what's going on in the current tech industry and all the software engineering, data science, data mining, artificial intelligence. But when you go deeper, for example, me as a chemical engineer, when you look at all these chemical plants, all these factories, nowadays, every powerful chemical plant, petrochemical plant, for example, taking one of the major leading companies in the world, which is BASF, they're investing tons of money to change their infrastructure. Also small companies, which the companies who have their eyes on the future, they're investing money to change the infrastructure or update it, upgrade it, and even the control system, observation system, their maintenance, and even the workforce that they are using with the help of these techniques from this data mining, from computer science, from artificial intelligence. So what I always tell the people is that somebody who, like Doreen, if somebody comes from the background or major in computer science, this is another story. But what the statement that I want to make is that when you're STEM, when you're in engineering, when you're in tech, doesn't matter which field you're in, try to educate yourself in these hot topics that are out there right now. So, and it is not very difficult to do so, you know. And also, as the audience is mainly women, I would target the women more because as a person who is a perfectionist, don't be perfectionist. I've been there, I try to manage it, I try to control or maintain it. But don't try to aim very high. For example, if I want to learn computer science or machine learning, I want to be as good as my friend who obtained a PhD in machine learning. It shouldn't be like that. Don't hold yourself back because you cannot be perfect. Just the whole idea that is getting promoted right now is that I, for example, going back to my example, as a chemical engineer, I know the process. So nobody else, the computer engineer, doesn't know the thermodynamics, doesn't know the mechanics of the system. So I bring my own expertise with some basic knowledge of this tech environment, and this combination should be kind of your gold card, your winning card. This could be like, you know, the offer that you're making to industry, and if they're smart, they shouldn't refuse you. So this is kind of technical idea, and it's not difficult to maintain because nowadays we have all this good platforms available in the internet. You have this free access to all the information. There are a lot of educational platforms like, EDX, Coursera, like Khan Academy, and many others, boot camps online, both free and you can pay for it and obtain a degree. So especially people who are at school or between jobs, they have this luxury of time so they can try to educate themselves in this area. If not, they can squeeze it in and try to, you know, be up to date and go with the pace of the industry when it comes to the technical part of the work. And when it goes to the soft skills, what, in my idea, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that always soft skills are even more important than the technical knowledge that you have. I've been talking in the past years with many hiring managers in the industry, and interestingly, when you talk to them, they all have this technical background. They're super successful. They have PhDs in engineering fields. And when you ask them, hey, you get 200 applications for 2 openings in your department, and they're all good. How do you choose between all these candidates? And what you get normally at the end is that, hey, technical is very important, but at the end of the day, I want somebody who is a good fit to my team. And that is very true, because what goes in their mind is that they think, okay, this is a college graduate, this is somebody who has worked before, so they have learned, they have the experience of learning before, so they can do it again. And anyways, when you change jobs, when you start fresh, when you come fresh out of university, or even when you change disciplines from one job to another job, at the beginning you are not as productive as you should be, you're supposed to be, or as it's expected from you to be. So they are taking that technical learning curve most of the time into account when they hire you. And then what they expect for you, but if you go to the work and you are not a team player, if you create drama at workplace, if you cannot deal with the drama at workplace, if you cannot deal with an introvert, extrovert person, and again, let's target it to the women, specifically women who come from Iran, who or grew up in Persian culture, or generally in Middle Eastern culture. For example, we kind of haven't learned to be active. We are more passive when we go to the meetings, when we want to. We haven't learned to, for example, brainstorm loudly, to express our minds actively in the meetings and stuff. So this is something that holds the company, it holds the team. You're not only affecting yourself, but rather all the other players in your team. And this is something that I guess hiring managers and people in the industry try to avoid. And again, I go back to the first part of this, the technical part. Use this online platforms like EDX, like Coursera, Khan Academy, and don't always go there and search for Python lectures and try to master Python. Just sometimes just search business classes, management classes, workplace, I don't know, politics. There are a lot of numerous sources available for you online that you can educate yourself. And in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, technical stuff gives you, if you want to climb up this ladder, technical stuff gives you the first jump start to go up the ladder. But if you want to go all the way up, then you need your soft skills, and nothing else rather than soft skills is going to bring you up there. And it's going to be a shame if you're smart, you have the technical knowledge, and just soft skills hold you back and you cannot proceed.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you want to become a manager, or if you want to manage people, that's very important to be able to communicate and connect with your teammates. Anyone else wants to add to that? No?
I can answer that. I actually want to answer it, but I don't know how many people are in software in the crowd, so if you are, raise your hand. Okay, I'll make it short. For software to get into the industry, there's a pretty streamlined process. There's a set of information that they base their interview questions on. Data structures, algorithms, these topics. It's a very different interview process than most, because you're actually sitting there and solving problems with people, and they ask you these things. They want to see how you think about how you break up a problem, how you approach big problems. And these are toolkits of things that they use as a foundation, because they're not going to just throw a new project at you. They want to use a language that they know that you're prepared to speak to. So there's that process, and I took 3 months off after I graduated college to really focus on preparing for that interview. It's something you really have to master. When you're on the job, there are tons of tools to grow yourself in a new stack. There's boilerplate applications on GitHub that you can just clone and start building your own little app from scratch. There's really good tutorials. I'm learning Golang right now, for example. There's a really good Golang playground that I use to learn that. Lots of resources available. That's my answer.
And your thoughts?
Well, these two ladies covered almost everything. Just like Doreen mentioned, well, internet is a very valuable tool that we have today and we can benefit from. And I remember when I started my first job in Iran, I was an R&D engineer in a telecom company, and we had all the nice equipment to work with, but we did not have internet access. So now there is not one day that goes by and I do not wonder how on earth were we doing R&D with no internet, no Google. Every day, whenever I come across an issue, I just Google it, go on all these forums and, read the discussions, people who've had same experience, same issues, and all the answers to the questions, and that helps a lot. That helps. Sometimes I feel like maybe in the near future, even a university degree, a college degree, is not that valuable anymore, because all the knowledge and all the tools is just at reach for everybody.
Crowdsourced, absolutely. And with your experience, you have had over 12 years of experience. What resources have you used to advance your career?
Well,
Or what would you suggest?
So maybe you can for you. I like this.
Don't cheat.
I like quotes. So another successful woman says, the only form of failure is simply not trying. Trying is success. You only keep doing it long enough, and eventually something works out. So I want to get this point that some qualities have really helped me throughout my professional life, and the most important ones being hard work, persistence, confidence. So as Nazanin mentioned, we come from a culture and background that it's very much promoted for us to, sit back, be quiet, and if we are asked who we are, what we do, just, keep it very down to earth and do not speak up. Otherwise, they would think that we are very arrogant, and it's not good for a girl to be like that. But when I came here, I found it, I learned it, not easy way, that you need to be the opposite. I met many people who, when they talked about themselves, I thought, oh my God, what are these people? And then, after a while, I found out that, okay, she is not much better than I am. We are kind of same, equal. So I found out that I need to be more confident. And of course, honest. I don't need to brag about anything. I just need to be myself. And to add to that, on top of your personal values and your personality, networking goes long ways. I still remember it clearly that summer morning that I had to kick myself out of bed to go watch a soccer match between Argentina and Germany with a bunch of people I have never met. I've only met one of them like a couple of times. But, I went there, I opened up about what I was going through, what I was after, my background, and that group of very nice people led me in a path that turned into my first job offer, and turned into I want to call him my first mentor. And to this day, we are good friends, and I try to contribute, and they help me. And also, like, social relationships. Like, I used to work for a company this company, Sofie, that I work for now, was their client. So as I was working on their project, I started making a good relationship, and then as I left that company, I maintained that relationship, I kept in touch, I even helped them out with a couple of issues they came across. Guess what happened? After a while, they approached me and they offered me a position that I loved. And, well, we just talked about the value of internet and all the knowledge there, and all the tools, and the Google and forums, and all of the online courses, and of course we cannot what your friend is doing and how they spend their weekend. You can also learn about all these new ideas, all these new startups, all these courses. You can see people exchanging ideas, promoting themselves, talking about their new companies or their new products. And of course, I'd like to emphasize on the power of a very good resume. And by that, I don't only mean the contents. The contents are very important, of course, but the structure, the wording, what you do first, what you put first, what you put last, and what you even include on there. That's very important.
I so agree, and not only on the resume side, I actually agree on the power of network. I had a similar experience. I've never applied for a job anywhere. It's been always through my network. Someone has asked me to work for them or provided me an opportunity. So I truly believe that if you have a great network and you actually keep a relationship, whether you want to work somewhere or you want to start your own company someday, know your investors, know the people you want to potentially hire someday, because they become handy when you need them, and in the meantime contribute to them. As you just mentioned, that's definitely a great advice. Anyone else wants to add on to resources?
I think I wanted to touch on what you said, Nazanin, about the soft skills. Just because I'm in consulting, and I can't tell you how important it is to be able to be a really clear communicator, and that's where my business degree comes into play. I took a lot of business communication classes, and it really helps when you're interfacing with someone who, you know, is paying a lot of money for you to like revive their companies, that you speak to them in a way that makes them feel trust, like they trust you, like you understand what their mission is, and you are upfront with them about problems that are coming up, so they're aware. Like all they care about is that they know what's going on. And I think there's a big deficiency in people in engineering who can't do that, that don't have that ability to express things in a simple, understandable way. I can point out a bunch of guys who show off, they use these fancy words and they look all mysterious and cool, but that's not the type of person I am. When I'm trying to explain something to someone, I'll bring it down to like a really easy to understand, consumable format, and that helps with people when you're speaking with people who are non-technical too, so that they understand exactly what's holding you back and they can empathize with it.
Just adding some points, complementing the points that these ladies have said. As a person who's in academia, I'm kind of pre-programmed to mentor and teach, and I would like to emphasize again on the power of mentorship, especially for the people who are again fresh graduates from the schools. And when you are in an industry, it doesn't matter if you're at the beginning of your career or you have a very established career. I would like to ask everybody to take, I know it's kind of stressful, I know that's overwhelming, but taking a little amount of time aside to help the people who are graduating out of school, who wants to find their path, to helping them, to show them the path that you have already gone and the experience, to share the experiences. I guess it's going to be very helpful through this internships, through this, I don't know, the programs, the exchange programs. There are different communities, both in academia and when you go to tech industries like women in engineering, women in tech, women in sciences, and so on and so forth. So I guess it would be very helpful if people in industry try to contribute even more to this communities and take the hands of other people who are in the community to go on, thrive, and proceed.
I can't agree enough, and I actually mentor 10 people per year. It's something that I have dedicated to now for several years, and I think anyone at any level can mentor. You all have some type of skill sets, and you've been, if you're mid-career or even if you're early in your career, because you can mentor someone who's in college and wants to become who you are today, or how you got this amazing job, etc., etc. So I do encourage. How many of you mentor or have a mentee? Let's start with the mentoring first. Right? How many are mentees? Nobody. I'm a mentee. I have mentors, because I think at any level and any path in your life, if you don't have someone who's directing you, you're not doing yourself justice. There's always someone there who can give you advice in your career path, in your personal path, and your goals that you have set. So please do if you haven't. It's so easy to create relationships where you can create a mentorship type of an environment. You can ask us or any speakers or even people in your community, but that's something I totally encourage you all to do. Who has a sponsor? Because we didn't talk about a sponsor, and that's more career-oriented. Anyone has a sponsor? Just me? Do we know what a sponsor is?
No.
Okay, so maybe that's where we should start actually, because a sponsor is someone who's dedicated to empower your career ladder. So this person can be your boss, your manager, it can be someone within the company, or someone who you thrive to be someday. And what they're doing, they're sponsoring your career. That means you're their mini-me, basically. When they're out and about, they're always thinking of how they can empower you, whether, for example, if there's somewhere and someone is looking for a speaker and you are very well versed in some type of a topic, they will suggest you. There's no benefit to them, but they're sponsoring you because they want to pay it forward. So, or when they're a manager of yours, anywhere there is an opportunity for you to grow, whether to promote you, etc., they're thinking of you, so they're sponsoring you all the way. And I do encourage you, if you don't have a sponsor within your company or outside of your company, my sponsor is outside of the company, obviously, but and I've always had sponsors. If you don't have a sponsor, you should get one. And it could be your manager, it could be your VP, it could be your CEO of your company. It's really important to have that as well. Any other thoughts around that? Mentorship?
Can I ask something about sponsorship? Is some sort of mental thing, sponsorship, or financially?
That's a good question. No, there's no financial around sponsor. They're just sponsoring your career.
Because learn about sponsorship, it's sponsored by Coca-Cola. And this Coca-Cola pays for everything.
Yeah.
So Coca-Cola is sponsored.
No, sponsor is nothing financial. As an individual who is supporting your career, they're sponsoring by making sure that you are accelerating. A mentor is more someone who is there for real-time information. You have an issue, whether you want to set up your company, how do I get this job, or how do I learn how to code, you can call them up and they give you real-time advice. Those are the two kind of different, and I think both of those are essential for your personal and career growth. Absolutely.
I can add a quick thing. I think the driver of a mentor-mentee relationship is definitely the mentee. It's up to them to establish a cadence of how often I'm going to talk to you, come prepared with an agenda of topics so that you're mindful of your mentor's time, and then you also want to show your progress as you're learning and consuming their ideas, just so that they can see, like, oh, I planted some seeds and I'm seeing it grow, and then that draws them more to wanting to help you because they're seeing a payoff that you're growing and blooming in a way, and it makes them feel good, you know? It's very important.
I mean, it's very interesting, you know, that we don't talk about that. And the interesting part is I have a lot of my, you know, my male friends or in the industry, they all have it. They have mentors since they were very young. They have sponsors throughout their college and career life. So it's something that to consider as individuals. So some people have it when they were in sports. You know, when I played volleyball, I had a sponsor when I was a volleyball. She wanted me to be a volleyball player or better. So really, it's you should consider having and being a sponsor as well. If you're high up in a company, I encourage you to find your mini-me and encourage them to be better as well. Well, we are at time, but what we want to do is provide an opportunity to the attendees to ask questions. So if you have a question, please stand up, introduce yourself, and then ask the question. And if you have it directly to someone, please state that. If not, you can ask everyone, and whoever feels comfortable or they would like to answer, they will give an answer to you. Any questions? Oh.
Hello everyone, I'm Varza. And my question is, how can you find the best mentor for yourself? I mean, what parameters should you consider to see what exactly you are looking for? Because I'm looking to have a mentor, and I'm trying hard to find one. but at the end of the day, I'm like, is she the perfect or is he the perfect mentor for me? Or should we even have the perfect one, or is just someone that you just look up to?
Thank you.
Anyone wants to take
I guess the first parameter is that in the next, for example, if you look at yourself in the next 5 years, 10 years, I don't know at which level your mentor stands right now. Do you want to be like her or him? The values, do you share the same values? Do you share the same career path? Do you want to be at the same place that she or he is right now or not? That's the basic thing that I think you should